Welcome back to the channel. Today we're excited. We got a new tool for the shop, and this video would probably be sponsored by Bestarc. They reached out to us about their new Bestarc BTC500DP plasma cutter, the 7th generation. This one happens to be the 3rd. Their 7th generation is pretty popular, so it's on back order for a little while, and they said that when that comes in, they probably will send us one, and then we can get that video to you so you can see what's new on their 7th generation. If you look on YouTube, you'll see a bunch of videos on these. They are pretty popular. It would be more of the entry level if you were sort of looking to get a plasma cutter for the first time. This does have a 60% duty cycle, so if you're not looking to cut all day long, this would be the unit for you. So with enough of that being said, let's get this popped open. We'll show you what comes in the box, what all comes with this, and then you can decide if it's something that'll work for you. What's funny about this, the timing on this, is I was looking for one of these during the holidays to get another one, and just around that time we were looking, they reached out to us. I had this in my cart on Amazon. They reached out and asked us if we'd like to try it. We're like, well, we just happened to would. So here it is, showed up. Although it is the 3rd generation, we were looking at the 7th, but that's okay. Something to try, show you for now, and then when that 7th comes in, that'd be cool to try out. It is a small, compact unit. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's tiny, it's light. Let's see what else it comes with here. You got your airline. Most of you probably won't use this if you have an air compressor. It does have the on the back, we'll see when we open it, does have the connection, the 1/4 inch connection, NPT connection for your airline, so you probably won't use that too much. You have your grounding cable, pretty nice flexible cable, and something I'd like to see is it does have the grounding band right there on both sides of your clamp. Clamp feels all right. You do have your adapter if you're going from 30 amp, because the plug on the back here is the 30 amp plug. So this allows you to go from 30 amp to the 110 outlet if you needed to. Although you probably won't be able to go full power on 110, because this is a 110 and a 220 volt. We're probably going to do the 110 today. Then we'll try the 220 at another time. But you got a little bag of consumables. Looks like some tips, nozzles, probably the clamps for that hose, and some Teflon tape. Then of course you have your torch, and it feels pretty good. It does have this trigger guard on here, which is, I don't know, nice and not nice, but it stops you from accidentally pressing the trigger, because this unit does have the arc start, so you don't have to actually touch the metal to get it going, which is going to be nice. And it does have the guard on here, which most of the time would probably be pretty good. Helps you keep your space perfectly. I probably would get some kind of sleeve guard for this, because you get enough of them sparks on here, you'll probably start having an issue with it. Then you have your, of course, your 2 connections, but looks pretty easy to hook up. What else we got? We got your instruction book, tells you how to use it, and then a little wrench probably to change out your nozzles and stuff. But that is it in the box. Like I said, it's pretty simple setup. Go. As you can see, like I said, it's a really light machine. You can hold it up with one finger. It is light. On the back here, we'll give you guys some closer ups of it, but you can see the 1/4 inch connection here for your airline. It also has the thing for moisture, the little dryer. The 110, like I said, this is 110 220, and you have your gauge on the front, which will help you regulate your air pressure. But and the newer one, I believe it's all digital, so they do have, I can't wait to see that one, but you can do it digitally, tell you your pressures, this and that. Then you have, of course, your dial here for voltage and all that. This here will adjust your air pressure up and down. So pretty easy setup. The cord looks pretty good. It's pretty thick cord for 30 amp. Probably work pretty good. Like I mentioned, this is a 60% duty cycle, so if you're trying to do this as a business, I probably want to use this one unless you had like 5 of them to rotate through or something like that. And this will cut up to 12 millimeter at 110 volt, and then it goes up to 16 millimeter at 220 volts, which the air pressures vary on that. They would like you to have at least between 40 and 70 psi recommended. So on your 110, you probably run at 40, and then if you're trying to cut that thicker metal, you're going to want probably the 70 psi. We do have a smaller, like the pancake air compressors, which probably is not going to do it because it'll only do it like briefly. It can't keep up. And then we also have a 30 gallon and a 60, but the 30 is probably what we think would be ideally suited for this. And it does make the CFM required to do this. And like I mentioned, it does have that adapter if you're going up to 220, but I think a lot of you starting out are probably just going to go with the 110 here connection. So that's what we're probably going to show you first. So, you know, eventually you'll want to cut that thicker stuff. You'll probably put in a 220 plug. Make that easier on your stuff. You can adjust the post time function on this between 2 and 15 seconds. So that's your cooldown on your tip after you cut. So if you got a long cut, you might want to put a longer post time on this so it'll make sure your tip stays cool. And it does have all the overload protections. The color, I don't know, it's like that blue, green, teal color, which isn't too bad. I think one of our TIG welder is this color, I believe, right? It's something close to this. I think a TIG's a little lighter, and that's by a different company anyway. But that's it with this. I'll show you how to hook this up. All right, we're going to give you guys a closer shot of what comes in this. Like we mentioned, your air hose over here. You also have your adapter, your consumables with the clamps and the Teflon tape, your grounding clamp, and of course your torch. Your instructions with the little wrench that comes with it, and of course the unit. I mean, for reference, I'll put my hand on the side. I got pretty big hands, so it's almost 2 of my hands lengthwise and not even 1 that way. Pretty nice machine. You can see the connections on the back for your airline. This is a 1/4 inch NPT fitting, so it'll fit most of your airlines. Your on and off switch, cooling fan, your dryer down here, which will let the moisture out that's in your line. Overall, nice unit. But I'm going to show you guys how to hook the stuff up when you first get it. It will, like I said, for that 1/4 inch line, it's going to be that fitting that looks like that. If you guys can see that, it's going to be like that. And that'll hook on the back. That's why I said most of you won't use the air hose or the airline it comes with. So extra hose for you. But let's get that hooked up first. Just show you how that's going to hook up on the back. It's going to be just like this. You know, if you're buying one of these, you know how to use an air hose. But just like that, that's all there is for that hookup. We're going to hook up the other stuff on here. The torch is a simple hookup. You can see where all the stuff goes on here. Get the boot off of here. Okay, we got that rubber cap off of there finally. This just screws right on there. You don't have to go crazy with it. It does have the brass that's at an angle there. And of course, you can only put them kind of in one spot. You'll see your 2-prong or your 2 connector with the cutout on it. The cutout goes down on this particular one, and then you can put your ring on. Make sure you put it on straight. There we go. And then of course we got the wire here. It's just going to go on this. Take that off, screw it back on. There's that. And then we got one other thing. That's going to be our grounding clamp. That's just going to go in your last spot up here. You'll see that also has the lug on it. You'll see it right here. That lug is going to go into the corresponding lug spot on the bottom and just turn. And that's it. Your grounding clamp is in. For the most part, you're hooked up and ready to go. So we're going to get this over by the power, plug this thing in. We're trying to decide if we want to do it on the generator first or just in regular power, but either way, you'll see it probably in this video. So let's go get this set up. All right, guys, we have everything set up out here on the table. We're outside the shop, give you guys better light. We have a 30 amp plug on the outside for RVs and stuff. So it is all set up. A couple safety things you're going to want. Definitely a pair of gloves. Stuff gets pretty hot. You want that. This is an auto darkening helmet. It's a little overkill because even when you're cutting, it really doesn't even activate the auto darkening. So you just want like a good pair of, dark pair of shades, or you still could use your hood and it won't darken, but it's already tinted, so it will work. And we're gonna try cutting a couple different things. Remember, I said we're only gonna do the 110 in this video, because I think that's what most people are gonna, when they start out, they're gonna be on the 110. We have some metal here, this is just some mild steel. This is 5mm. We're gonna cut a couple slabs off of that. We have 6mm aluminum. We're gonna see if it'll cut through that, which we know it will. We already playing with it, love it. And then also we have, this is 2mm mild steel also. We're gonna cut into that a little bit. Maybe we'll try some piercing, see if we can get it to pierce in there, see how much that dross we have. I know when we did this one, we didn't have the air up much. We got a bunch of that dross, or that slag, whatever you want to call it these days. And then, but that's it. But we're going to get you guys closer to the machine. We'll show you a few of the setups on it, where you want to be as far as your air pressure, your nozzle control, like 2T, 4T, your voltage, your post-purge, stuff like that. So let's get you close to the machine. We'll show you some of the settings. All right, we have the machine on, and you can see right here is our current or what we have the current set at currently. We have our air hooked up inside. We have it set to 60 right now, but you can just pull this out, turn plus or minus to where you want your air pressure, like that. All this other stuff you've seen us hook up. Then you have your 2T and 4T, which is going to be for your nozzle over there, for your trigger setup. So you can have it so when you pull the trigger, you hold the trigger and cut and then let go. Or 4T is where you can press it, it'll be on until you press the trigger again, it'll shut off. We keep it on 2T, we'd like to just hold the trigger. It's kind of like when we're welding or anything, it's the same thing. And then you have your post-purge after, like how much air flows out of the nozzle after you're done cutting. We have our set on, let's see. Hope you guys can see that. We have our set on 4 because we're only doing some small cuts. If you were doing a longer cut, you might want to go a little longer of a post-purge on that to cool it down. And that's pretty much all you need to adjust on here. Is pretty good. Like I said, they're new one when it gets here. It's pretty cool because they have the digital readouts. It makes this all a little easier to understand. This gauge is digital and everything. So it's a pretty nice machine. They're 7th generation. And then you'll have the light up here. It tells you you're ready to cut. The air's hooked up, everything like that. So we're going to get over here and hook up our ground clamp to the metal and try our first cut, see how nice it cuts through there. Like I said, we're going to try it at 60. And we're going right, since we're doing 110, we're going to stay right at, we're going to go to the max there at 35 amps and try to cut through there. So let's go see what we can do. All right, the first thing we want to do on our metal is make sure we got a clean spot. This is bare metal. Then we're going to put our ground clamp on. Just hook it to the back there. It would be better if you all had a cutting table. This is not really a cutting table. It is a metal table, but it's not an actual welding table or anything like that, but it works for our purpose. Another thing, safety gear we have the leather apron. Not really necessary. This ain't quite like a torch. It doesn't throw the sparks at you. If it does, you don't have enough air pressure to push it through. So make sure you adjust that. But we have it on just in case. If anything, it's going to go throw sparks at the ground, which might hit your shoes. So if you're not worried about those, you're good to go. All right. With our pilot arc, like I said, this has the metal guard on here, which gives you your perfect spacing, and it allows you to, like us, we can just put this on here. We can just drag this across like this. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to hold this here just for a straight edge. You get just off your work. You got that guard on your trigger. Press it for the arc, and then we're just going to draw the line back. You can see I had that 4-second post-purge after I let off the trigger. But let's get you over here. I'll bring this closer to show you the cut. You can see our cut. We got a little bit of dross on there. Not bad. We can grind that off. That is not bad on the 110. And this here is 5mm. So 5mm mild steel. That's a nice clean cut. I'm pretty happy with that cut. And like I said, we have it on the 35 amp, which is the high setting for 110. And we have it on 60 PSI. Which, from our first cut to our second, we have a lot more dross on this one. Since we turned it up, a lot less dross on that. We could probably turn it up to 65, see if that eliminates that dross. And then you can see the nice cut on that one. Cut through really nice. You guys can see that there. So that's a good clean cut. And then on our other one, you can see one we were messing with before, the amount of dross on that one's a lot more. So we're just going to play with our air until we get less of that. And like I said, this was only 5mm, so we'll do one more cut on this one. Then we're going to try, we know it'll cut through this too, but this is square stock, so we can just cut. We did a couple on here. You just got to cut all the way around like you normally would. So we'll do that. Try to get a clean spot if you can, so you get a good ground. I don't have much of a clean, but inside the ends are cut, so they're clean. So we'll try that. And then, of course, we're going to try our aluminum. This is 6mm aluminum. We did try cutting it, and it seemed to cut pretty good. So a little bit of that slag or dross on the bottom, but not bad. But let's do one more cut on this one. All right, we cut that. You've seen it cut through there pretty nice. We turned the pressure up, and that's the best we can get on the 110. There's not much dross there on that mild steel, so easy to grind off. Now we're going to mess with this 2mm, which we know it'll cut through this easy since it just did the 5. You're just going to have to go around this, and this is painted, so I just wanted to see how it would do with that. Thank you. There we go. You can see it cut that pretty good. It took the 4 times around, which that ain't the ideal cutting thing for something like this. You would probably use a bandsaw or something like that, or a chop saw, but just to see what it would do. Cut through nice. I mean, you did see a little flame that was from the paint. That's why you want a good clean surface. So cut through that, no problem. Next, we're going to cut through this aluminum. Actually, we know it cuts through because we messed with it, but we're going to mess with it a little bit more. Show you guys. Let's get our ground clamp on this corner. And like I said, when the other machine comes, we'll show you that one too, and how to set that up with the digital display. And maybe we can do a 220. We'll show you the 220 in another video. But for most people in their shop that are just starting out, they're probably going to have something like this with the 110 until they can get the 220 set up. So let's get this on here. Tripped the breaker, but you guys get the point. It cut through there pretty good. I'll hold you guys up any longer. You can see it cut through there, nice straight line. We got a little dross on there, but not bad. And this is 6mm, so it does pretty good. So we're pretty impressed with this, with the cuts it does. I mean, pretty efficient little machine. On the our plug out here is a 30 amp plug. We have this set to 35 amps, so it's drawn a little bit more. But you're going to need a bunch of power to run this, so make sure you have the proper breaker and stuff installed. But all right, that was fun, guys. As you can see, it cut through effortlessly, and this is a good budget machine. Really light, small, compact, takes up hardly any space. The space this takes, like we mentioned in the first part of the video that we're going to try it on a generator. We tried that. Well, we tried it on our mid-size generator, which is 3,600 watts. It would run this not too bad, but you can't have the amperage up. And also we tried to plug in our air compressor, our mid-size one. It would not run that one either. So it takes a bunch of power. I mean, if you got a big air compressor and a good power setup in like a trailer and you're being mobile with it, it might work, but this is definitely good for your shop. So not too mobile really, but great for the shop. It cut through clean. It does come with a couple extra tips and nozzles for it. So it comes with some consumables to get you going. Don't forget your safety gear. You're going to want that also. Like we mentioned, we'll leave links to all this down below if you guys are interested. Big shout out to Bestarc for sending this to us because it's pretty awesome. And they talked about their new machine, the 7th generation. That was the one that was supposed to come. Hopefully that'll be here soon when it comes back in stock. And also they got a new MIG machine coming out. I'm hoping we can get our hands on that and we can bring that to you also. But that was pretty fun. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down below. We'll answer what we know, get you answers if we don't. And if you guys enjoyed today's video or you found it helpful at all, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Get the thumbs up so you know the next time we show you a video on this or the new one coming or anything like that, you'll be the first person to know when we get that and the video comes out. So please click that down below and give us a thumbs up. Let everybody know you're liking the video. Until next time, guys, do a little bit of everything.